First contact gone wrong. The exploration vessel Terra's Hope drifted silently through the cosmic void, its sensors scanning the uncharted system designated as Frontier 7. Captain James Miller stood on the bridge, watching streams of data flow across the main display. For 3 months, his crew of 200 had been mapping this remote sector, far from Earth's protective embrace. "Captain, I'm detecting some unusual readings," Lieutenant Tom Baker announced from his station. His fingers danced across the console. Multiple energy signatures approaching fast. Miller turned sharply. "How many?" 50. No. Wait. 57 vessels, sir. They're huge." The bridge fell silent. Humanity had been searching for intelligent life for 3 centuries. Today, it seemed, they had found it. "Lisa, shields up," Miller ordered his first officer. Commander Lisa Park responded instantly, her training taking over despite the historic moment. Space itself seemed to ripple as the alien fleet dropped from hyperspace. The vessels were magnificent and terrible, each one dwarfing the Terra's Hope. Their hulls gleamed with an organic metal that seemed to pulse with inner light. At the center of the formation, a command ship stretched 3 kilometers long. "There." "Hailing us," Tom reported, his voice tight. "Put it through." Translation matrix online. The view screen flickered to life, revealing Admiral Kron of the Haelor Empire. The alien stood 3 meters tall, his 4 arms crossed in what appeared to be a gesture of superiority. His skin was deep purple, marked with natural armor plating that gleamed under the bridge lights. "Primitive vessel," Kron's translated voice boomed through the speakers. "You trespass in Haelor space. Your species is unknown to our databases, which means you are not yet part of our empire. This oversight will be corrected immediately." Miller stepped forward, keeping his voice calm and diplomatic. "Admiral Kron, I am Captain James Miller of Earth vessel Terra's Hope. We come in peace, seeking only knowledge and friendship. We were not aware this system was claimed." The alien's laugh was harsh, metallic. "Earth? Peace? How quaint. The Haelor Empire has conquered 200 species across 10,000 systems. Your friendship is neither desired nor required. You will surrender immediately and prepare to serve." "Sir," Lisa whispered, "their weapons are charging." Miller raised his hand slightly, keeping his eyes on the screen. "Admiral, surely we can discuss this. Humanity has no quarrel with your empire. We're explorers, not conquerors. The weak explore, the strong conquer," Kron replied. "You have 10 seconds to surrender, or we will take your vessel by force." Miller's jaw tightened. 300 years of human history flashed through his mind. Wars that had nearly destroyed Earth. Peace that had been earned through blood and wisdom. Humanity had grown beyond its violent past, but they had never forgotten how to fight. "Admiral Kron, I ask you once more to reconsider. This does not have to end in violence. Your time is up." The first plasma bolt struck Terra's Hope's starboard hull, sending the ship lurching. Alarm screamed as outer plating vaporized. Another blast followed, then another. "Damage report," Miller barked. "Hull breaches on decks 4 through 7. Emergency force fields holding," Lisa reported. "They're toying with us, sir." Those shots were deliberately non-fatal. Miller moved to his command chair, his fingers finding the hidden panel beneath the armrest. The authentication scanner read his DNA, then his retinal pattern. A small keyboard emerged. Tom opened an encrypted channel to Earth. Priority 1. "Channel open, sir." Miller typed 3 words. Code black, unprovoked attack. The message would take 4 hours to reach Earth via quantum relay. By then, it might be too late for Terra's Hope, but not for humanity. "They're boarding us," Tom announced, cutting through airlock 3. Miller stood, straightening his uniform. "All hands, this is the captain. Remain calm. Offer no resistance. Remember your training. The bridge doors exploded inward. Haelor soldiers poured through, their weapons aimed at the human crew. They moved with practiced efficiency, expecting panic, screaming, chaos. Instead, they found calm acceptance. Admiral Kron himself entered, studying the humans with 4 eyes that blinked independently. Curious, most species beg or fight. You do neither. We're scientists and explorers, Admiral. Violence is not our first response. Miller replied evenly. Kron approached, towering over the human captain. Your physical weakness is obvious. Your technology is primitive. You will make adequate slaves for our minds. He turned to his soldiers. Take them all. Flag the system for harvesting. As energy shackles locked around his wrists, Miller allowed himself a small, sad smile. The Haelor Empire had no idea what they had just awakened. Asterisk, the awakening giant 4 hours later. The quantum relay station orbiting Earth received the message. 3 words that changed everything. The operator on duty, a young man named David, stared at the screen in disbelief before his training kicked in. His hand slammed down on the red emergency button. Within minutes, the Global Unity Council assembled. In the secure chamber beneath Geneva, President Maria stood at the head of the table, her face grave as she read the message aloud. Code Black, unprovoked attack, Terra's hope. General Robert Hayes, Earth's military commander, leaned forward. First contact protocol has failed. We have a hostile alien force. How long before we can respond? Maria asked. That depends, Hayes replied, on whether we reveal Project Guardian. The council members exchanged glances. Project Guardian was humanity's worst-kept secret that was somehow still a secret. For 200 years, after achieving global peace, Earth had continued military development in absolute secrecy. Not out of paranoia, but out of wisdom. Show them, Maria commanded. The holographic display activated, revealing Earth's true defensive capabilities. 10,000 automated warships hidden in the dark space between star systems. Military bases carved into asteroids. Mars transformed into a fortress world. Every human colony armed with defensive platforms that could shred a fleet. We learned from our history, Hayes explained. Peace through strength. We hoped never to use these weapons, but we prepared for this day. Admiral Jane Roberts, commander of the Ghost Fleet, stood up. My ships can be activated within the hour. We have 50,000 combat drones, each one capable of independent operation. Our AI warfare systems have been running simulations for 2 centuries. But we know nothing about this enemy, Council Member Wong pointed out. Terra's hope was transmitting data until the boarding, Hayes said. We know enough. They call themselves the Haelor Empire. 57 ships attacked one of ours. They took our people as slaves. The word slaves rippled through the chamber like a shockwave. Humanity had dark memories of slavery, wounds that had taken centuries to heal. President. Maria's voice turned to steel. Activate everything, all of it. Across human space, the sleeping giant stirred. On Colony World Haven, farmers put down their tools and reported to hidden military bunkers. At the research station on Kepler 442b, scientists revealed weapons. Laboratories behind false walls. In the asteroid belt, miners activated dormant warships hidden inside hollowed-out rocks. The Ghost Fleet came online in stages. First 1 ship, then 10, then hundreds. Their AI cores synchronized, sharing data, learning, adapting. Each vessel was different, designed to fight in unique ways. Some were swift attackers, others heavy bombardment platforms. Many were things the Haelor wouldn't understand: electronic warfare vessels, gravity manipulators, quantum disruptors. Admiral Roberts stood on the bridge of the flagship Resilience. watching her fleet awaken. All ships, this is Admiral Roberts. Humanity has been attacked. Our people have been taken. We go to war not for conquest, but for rescue and justice. 50,000 voices responded in unison across the quantum network, for Earth and all her children. Meanwhile, in the Frontier 7 system, Admiral Kron reviewed his prize. 200 human prisoners secured in his ship's holding cells. The Terra's Hope had been stripped of its technology and left drifting as a monument to Haelor superiority. Pathetic creatures, Kron remarked to his second-in-command. No armor plating, no redundant organs, no natural weapons. How did they even achieve space travel? Their technology shows some interesting adaptations, his science officer reported. Crude but creative. They might make useful engineers once properly trained. Kron waved dismissively. Add this Earth to the conquest schedule. A single planet of weaklings will fall within days. He had no idea that Earth's quantum communication network had already spread word to all 50 human systems. Manufacturing plants that had produced farming equipment for decades retooled overnight, producing weapons and ships. The human population of 30 billion souls united with singular purpose in Earth's orbit. President Maria addressed humanity. We spent centuries learning to live in peace with each other. We hoped the universe would be peaceful too. Today, we learned otherwise. But we did not forget our strength. We did not forget how to protect what we love. The first wave of the human fleet jumped to hyperspace, 1,000 ships strong. Behind them, 9,000 more prepared to follow. Admiral Roberts studied the tactical data from Terra's Hope's last transmission. The Haelor fought in rigid formations, their tactics unchanged for millennia. Humanity would teach them the cost of their arrogance. The giant had awakened, and the galaxy would tremble. Asterisk. The counterstrike, the human fleet dropped out of hyperspace at the edge of the Frontier 7 system, like wolves emerging from shadow. 100 ships in the first wave, each one a masterpiece of hidden engineering. Admiral Roberts watched the tactical display from the Resilience, her eyes tracking the Haelor formation. They haven't moved, her tactical officer reported, still maintaining standard Imperial patrol pattern around the Terra's Hope. They don't expect anyone to come, Roberts said. In their experience, no one ever has. Begin Operation Sunrise. The human ships scattered instantly, each one following a different attack vector. Where the Haelor moved in rigid formations perfected over millennia, the humans moved like water, fluid and unpredictable. On the Haelor command ship, alarms suddenly screamed. Admiral Kron rushed to his bridge, his forearms working separate. Control panels. What is happening? Ships, Admiral. Unknown configuration. Unknown origin. How many? The number keeps changing, sir. 50 ... 70 ... 100 ... They're moving too fast to track. The first human strikes were surgical. The destroyer Swift Strike materialized behind a Haelor cruiser, fired a concentrated burst at its engine. Core then jumped away before return fire could target it. The attack lasted 2 seconds. The Haelor ship drifted, powerless. Impossible, Kron roared. No one uses microjumps in combat. The power drain alone, his science officer interrupted. Admiral, each enemy ship is fighting differently. Our combat computers cannot establish a pattern. This was humanity's edge. Every ship's AI learned in real time, sharing data instantly across the quantum network. What worked against one Haelor vessel was never repeated exactly. Each attack was a variation, an evolution, an adaptation. Captain Miller, watching from his cell aboard Kron's ship, felt the vessel shudder under impact. He turned to his crew. Stay ready. They're coming for us. Outside, the battle had become a massacre. The Haelor's proud formations crumbled as human ships danced between them. The cruiser Lightning Road used electronic warfare to make 12 Haelor ships fire on each other. The battleship Mountain's Shadow employed gravity weapons to crush enemy shields from the inside. "Call for reinforcements," Kron commanded. "I'm trying, Admiral, but something is interfering with our communications." Thousands of microscopic drones released by the human ships had attached to Haelor vessels. Too small to detect, they mapped shield frequencies, analyzed hull compositions, and transmitted everything back to the human fleet. Admiral Roberts noticed a pattern in the data. All ships, target grid reference 779 on enemy shields. Ion burst, frequency 12.4. Across the battle, human ships adjusted their weapons. The next volley punched through Haelor shields like paper. The Empire's greatest defense, perfected over 10,000 years, had been solved in 30 minutes of combat. "Admiral Kron," a transmission came through, Admiral Roberts' face appearing on screen. "Surrender. Return our people. This ends now." Kron's purple face darkened. With rage. "The Haelor Empire does not surrender to primitives." "Then you've chosen poorly." The Resilience fired a single missile. It passed through the Haelor shields as if they weren't there, detonated against the hull, and carved a perfect circle. Human. Special forces poured through the breach, moving with enhanced power armor that made them equals to the larger Haelor soldiers. The rescue operation took 12 minutes. Every human prisoner was recovered, including Captain Miller, who paused at the breach to look back at Kron. "You could have had our friendship," Miller said simply. As the human forces withdrew, 500 Haelor reinforcement ships arrived, summoned by Kron's earlier call. Roberts smiled grimly. Phase 2. The human fleet jumped away, but left behind millions of observation drones. Too late, the Haelor detected them. The tiny machines transmitted everything: ship positions, crew numbers, supply routes, communication codes. Back at Earth, the War Council analyzed the flood of intelligence. AI systems processed the data, finding patterns, weaknesses, vulnerabilities. Their empire is vast but brittle, General Hayes observed. They haven't faced real opposition in thousands of years. Their tactics are fossilized. And now we know their shield frequency, Admiral Roberts added. Every human ship will have this data within the hour. President Maria studied the Galactic map showing Haelor space. They enslaved 200 species. How many would rebel if given the chance? All of them, Hayes answered. If we show them the Empire can bleed. The human fleet regrouped at Earth, but already Operation Swarm was beginning. 10,000 ships, divided into 100-ship wolf packs, prepared to strike simultaneously across Haelor space. The Empire was about to learn what happened when humanity went to war. Asterisk. The Empire trembles. The attacks began at dawn on 100 worlds. Though dawn meant different things under different suns. Human wolf packs struck military installations, supply depots, and communication hubs across Haelor space simultaneously. The Empire, which had stood unchallenged for 50,000 years, experienced something new: fear on the industrial world. Of Karos, a human strike force of just 10 ships disabled the entire planetary defense grid in 6 minutes. They broadcast a simple message to the enslaved population below. The Haelor can be beaten. Rise up. Freedom's possible. Commander Lisa Park, now leading her own wolf pack, watched as the enslaved Vordan species received the message. Within hours, factories burned. Overseers fled. 3 billion souls who had known only chains for generations suddenly discovered hope. At the Haelor Strategic Command, Emperor Zoth received reports with growing disbelief. His massive form, 5 meters of armored flesh and forearms, trembled. With rage, How is this possible? One primitive species causing such chaos? They strike and vanish, his war minister reported. Never the same tactic twice. Our fleets arrive to find only destruction and freed slaves, Emperor. Freed. Slaves? Zoth's voice was dangerous. 3 species so far. The Vorden, the Kalari, and the ancient Thrix. The humans are teaching them to fight. Indeed, humanity was sharing more than just freedom. They provided weapons, medical aid, and most importantly, knowledge. The freed species eagerly shared intelligence about their oppressors. The Thrix, who had been enslaved for 10,000 years, revealed the location of secret Haelor fuel depots. The Kalari, natural code breakers, helped decrypt Haelor military communications. Captain Miller, recovered from his capture and now commanding a battle group, led the assault on the Haelor's main shipyard at Proxus Station. 50 human ships faced 200 defenders. The old Miller would have sought negotiation. The new Miller had learned that some enemies only understood strength. All ships execute pattern chaos. The human vessels scattered, reformed, scattered again. Each ship's AI ran different combat algorithms. The destroyer Hammer used ancient Earth naval tactics. Crossing the enemy's T, the cruiser Dance employed maneuvers based on hawk hunting patterns. The battleship Thunder ran calculations inspired by chess grandmasters. The Haelor commanders couldn't adapt. Their military doctrine, unchanged since before humans discovered fire, crumbled against an enemy that treated warfare like jazz. Improvisational, creative, alive. Proxus Station fell in 4 hours. The human forces disabled rather than destroyed, captured rather than killed. Every freed slave was offered a choice: safe passage to neutral space, or training to fight for their own freedom. Most chose to fight. Emperor Zoth watched his empire's control structure collapse in real time. Revolt spread like wildfire. On the agricultural world of Blessed Harvest, Haelor governors fled as their former slaves seized control. On the mining planet Deep Core, liberation came from within when enslaved workers realized their masters could no longer summon reinforcements. Activate the Grand Armada, Zoth commanded. Everything. Every ship, every warrior. 50,000 vessels. But Emperor, that will leave our core worlds defenseless. There are no defenses against these humans. They strike like ghosts. Our only option is to destroy their home world. Cut off the head, and the body dies. The Grand Armada began its assembly, ships pulling back from across the Empire. The greatest fleet ever assembled in galactic history. 50,000 vessels carrying 10 million warriors. Weapons that could crack planets, technology accumulated. Over millennia of conquest, humanity watched it all through their drone network. Every ship movement tracked, every communication intercepted. The freed species provided inside information, which commanders were competent, which were cowards, where the ammunition supplies were stored. They're abandoning defensive positions. Everywhere, General Hayes noted. Their entire empire is exposed. President Maria studied the tactical display. How long before the Grand Armada reaches Earth? 7 days, Admiral Roberts replied. Should we recall our Wolf packs? No. Continue the liberation campaign. Earth can handle itself. As the Grand Armada prepared its journey to Earth, human special forces completed one final mission. They infiltrated Haelor communication networks and broadcast a message on every frequency, in every language of every enslaved species. The empire that seemed eternal is falling. Your masters flee to fight us, leaving you unguarded. The age of chains is ending. Rise up. Claim your freedom. Humanity stands with you. Across 10,000 systems, billions of beings heard the message. And they believed it, because they could see it happening. The Haelor Empire was trembling. A grand armada jumped to hyperspace, racing toward Earth. They had no idea they were flying into the deadliest trap ever conceived. Asterisk humanity's message. Grand Armada dropped out of hyperspace at the edge of Earth's solar system. 50,000 ships arranged in perfect formation, a display of power meant to inspire terror. Emperor Zoth himself commanded from the super dreadnought Eternal Dominion, a vessel 40 kilometers long. Scan for defensive fleets, Zoth ordered. Emperor... There's nothing. Just the planet and its moon. No ships, no stations, no defenses. Zoth's 4 eyes narrowed. They recalled everything to defend their colonies. The fools left their homeworld exposed. He leaned forward. All ships advance. Prepare planetary bombardment. The armada moved forward like an unstoppable tide. It passed Mars, seeing only red desert. They approached the moon, detecting no resistance. Earth hung before them, blue, and green and defenseless. People of Earth, Zoth broadcast, your arrogance ends today. You will serve or you will. The moon split open, not cracked, not destroyed, but split like a massive eye-opening. Inside, humanity had hollowed out Earth's satellite over 2 centuries, creating the largest defensive platform ever built. Weapons. Systems the size of cities came online. Gravity generators that could bend space itself hummed to life. WHU, Zoth's scream was cut short as space itself seemed to twist. Mars revealed its secret next. The red planet's surface cracked along hidden seams, revealing massive cannon arrays. Venus's thick atmosphere parted, showing floating fortress cities. The asteroid belt came alive as thousands of hidden weapons platforms activated. But the true surprise came from Earth itself. The planet's surface shimmered, and 100,000 ships materialized. They had been there all along, hidden by cloaking technology so advanced the Haelor sensors couldn't detect them even at point-blank range. Admiral Roberts appeared on every screen in the Grand Armada. Emperor Zoth, you brought 50,000 ships to our home. We prepared 100,000 defenders. You came to destroy. We offer you one chance to surrender. Never. All ships attack. The Haelor fleet opened fire. 10 million weapons discharged at once. Energy beams that could vaporize mountains, missiles that could crack continents. They hit humanity's defensive shields, and stopped. Earth's planetary shield, powered by the planet's own core, absorbed the assault like rain hitting an umbrella. Our turn, Roberts said quietly. The moon's great weapon fired. A gravity pulse. That washed over the Haelor fleet, not destroying but disabling. Every ship found itself caught, unable to move, unable to escape. They could have been destroyed in seconds, but humanity held back. The battle, if it could be called that, lasted 3 hours. Human ships danced through the trapped Haelor fleet, surgically disabling weapons, engines, shields. The Empire's greatest. Warriors could only watch as their mighty armada was reduced to 50,000 floating hulks. Not a single Haelor life was lost. Emperor Zoth sat on his bridge, surrounded by dead systems and darkened screens. The main viewer flickered to life. One last time, Captain Miller appeared, the same human who had been captured weeks ago. Why? Zoth asked, his voice broken. Why not destroy us? Miller's expression was calm, almost sad. Because we choose to be better than our past. Because mercy is not weakness. Because the galaxy needs to hear humanity's message. What message? Miller stepped aside, and President Maria appeared, addressing not just Zoth, but broadcasting to every ship, every freed world, every corner of the galaxy. We are humanity. We came to the stars seeking knowledge and friendship. We were met with violence and slavery. We could have responded with genocide, but we choose another path. The Haelor Empire ends today, not in destruction, but in transformation. She continued, every enslaved species is now free. Every conquered world can choose its own destiny. The Haelor themselves are not destroyed, but defeated. They will return to their original home system, their weapons disabled, their empire dissolved. They can rebuild, but as equals among the galactic community, not as conquerors. And if we refuse, Zoph asked, then you will sit in those disabled ships until you change your mind. We are patient. We waited 300 years for the stars. We can wait for you to choose wisdom. The transmission reached every corner of the galaxy. The freed species celebrated. The Haelor colonies, cut off from military support, peacefully surrendered. Within days, a new galactic order emerged with humanity at its center, not as rulers, but as protectors. Captain Miller returned to space in a new Terra's Hope, continuing his mission of exploration. But now, when humans encountered new species, they were greeted with a different title, the Peaceful Warriors, the species that defeated an empire without destroying it. The Haelor Empire had made a fatal mistake, attacking humanity's vessel. They learned that humans' greatest strength wasn't their weapons or tactics. It was their choice to remain human. Asterisk.